Hello and welcome to the Breakthrough Clean University video series. My name is Gabriel Cabrera. I'm from Breakthrough Clean. Also with me today is Jerry Novo from Novo Arms in Miami, Florida.
How you doing?
How's it going, Jerry?
Fantastic.
In today's video, we will show you how to properly disassemble, maintain, and clean your pump action, and we'll briefly go over the semi-automatic series shotguns. The products we'll be using today are obviously Breakthrough Clean products. It's going to vary from our BT101 kits to our bigger Lock U kits. Before we go any further, we would like to remind you of the following firearm safety rules. They are: always point your firearm in a safe direction. Always make sure that your firearm is unloaded. Always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. All right, Jerry, let's start on the first one. In front of us we have what, a Remington 870, correct?
It's a Remington 870 model shotgun. It's a pump action shotgun. Like always, you always want to make sure the gun is empty, visually and physically. Put your finger in there, make sure there's nothing in there. You want to look down, make sure the feed tube is also empty. If anything, you could cycle it once or twice, make sure there's nothing there.
How'd you do that?
Okay, on the Remington 870s, there's a release button underneath, right in front of the trigger guard. On some Mossbergs and some other type shotguns, there's a release towards the back. If you're unsure, you could always check with your owner's manual, and it will show you exactly where that is.
And just show you here as a point of reference.
This is a Mossberg 500 style shotgun. Right here is the release. Once again, you want to verify that it's empty. You would push this release button here on the bottom, and you could cycle the action on it.
All right, okay. Let me put that one off to the side for you.
Okay. Like Gabe mentioned, we're going to start with an 870 Remington shotgun. The way you disassemble this shotgun, once again, you make sure it's empty. There's a nut right here in the front. You got to be careful because there's a captured spring in the magazine tube. So you want to kind of apply a little pressure to that while you're unscrewing it.
One thing I want to mention, this is an aftermarket extended feed tube cover. So what this will let you do is hold extra ammunition in your feed tube. Most of the factory ones stop right there, right by where Jerry's hand is, and you can obviously see the considerable difference. That's what you're going to see on the shelf in most sporting goods stores or gun stores, unless it's an upgraded model from the factory. Just
now, the factory will have their extended tube, but they all pretty much are the same. They're all going to screw in the front. Okay, so this assembly is going to be pretty much the same for all of them. Mm-hmm. You unscrew the tube. Be careful, you got to capture the spring, because even with the short tubes, you still have a spring that's about twice the length.
So it still has tension.
Yeah, so it's still under tension, and you don't want that spring flying out.
We talked about that during the 1911 video. Same rules apply, guys. If you guys aren't comfortable doing it, wear safety glasses. Do just like Jerry's doing it. Point it in a safe direction, right? You always want to point a firearm in a safe direction. Don't look down the barrel. Don't be one of those guys that puts it here and is doing this, and it's bad form, bad habit. Those are training scars. They're going to catch up with you later on, and they might come to hurt you. So keep that in mind.
You're going to build up bad muscle memory, and you're going to fight the way you train. And if you're training the wrong way, unfortunately, that's how accidents occur.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay. So once again, we're going to push the release. You're going to slide the action a little forward as you bring the barrel out.
Nice.
Okay. So now you have the barrel. You have a couple major groups here. You have the barrel. You have the actual shotgun with all the action still in it, and the tube for the spring. Now be careful, because in here you have a little follower. This one happens to be an aftermarket silver plated one, but they're usually orange in color, or I've seen some blue aluminum, and
there's some plastic ones. There's some plastic ones out there, high vis color. You can run with those. They run well. That one happens to be from Van Comp Systems. The safety on the shotgun is from Van Comp Systems as well.
Also located here.
So is the porting on this barrel. If you notice, this barrel is a little different. This honeycomb porting that you see right here is for recoil management. They also go in and they push the forcing cone forward, taking away some of the recoil as well. Great patterning shotgun, great products. Hit them up, vancompsystems.com, VANGSYSYSTEM.com. But let me show them from my angle. This is the tricky part. You can kind of walk us through, Jerry, on what I'm doing.
And now here. Gabe's going to show, since he has the contrasting shirt, so it's easier for you guys to see. There's two little tabs inside, which you have to push outwards while you're sliding up the forend.
Yeah, and if you've gone up like that, you've already gone too far. It's already hitting the point of no return, so you can't pull it forward. So if you've already done that,
release some tension.
Exactly. You hit the release and you bring it down just a little bit. Obviously, you want to bring the carrier out of the way, but you hit both and just kind of walk it up.
Okay, now you want to be careful, hold on to this part, because if you're not holding on to this part, it could fall off onto the floor. Okay, and that's the last place you want all your gun parts to be, is on the floor.
Yep. And we got a couple parts here, don't we?
Yep.
What are we looking at here? So this is obviously the bolt, and this is the carriage.
The bolt and the carrier for the bolt, and then you have these little rods that's what helps everything cycle.
Yeah, the action bars. So
Yeah,
obviously
action
there's a cutout right here in the action bars that if you kind of put it
this
over
would-
there, it's one of those situations where you guys
That
want
will
to
fit right into there.
exactly. You want to pay attention on how these parts are coming out of your gun, because you're going to be going in reverse order. Same thing with the 1911, if you guys remember. So make sure that you're not putting those backwards. You're going to have a hell of a time. And just rule of thumb for anything firearms related, if you're putting it back together and you start feeling tension or it's not moving smoothly,
Don't get the hammer out.
exactly, you're probably doing it wrong. So take a step back, rethink about how you're doing it, and then attempt it again. If not, you're really going to mess up your firearm. Always check. Never void your manufacturer's warranty. All right, you never know when you're going to need it. Obviously, this gun, the way it sits, it's modified with aftermarket mods. At this point, I've voided mine, but this is more of a competition type shotgun. Okay, so bear that in mind, and always go with a trained gunsmith on anything that you're going to do that's beyond the scope of normal OEM. There's a lot of folks out there that try and do stuff in their backyard. It's not necessarily the best way to do it, so buyer beware. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to clean this puppy and break out our handy dandy microfiber cloth. Again, I'm always going to recommend that we look at the BT 101 kit for a very simple cleaning kit. This one is going to have a lot of stuff that you would need to get the cleaning started. 2-ounce serving of our solvent, 2-ounce serving of our Battleborn oil, green microfiber cloth, mil-spec bristle brush, and 2 sample packets of our Battleborn grease folded up inside of the little cloth. Anything after that, you can always buy any hardware. We sell kits online as well that are a little bit more in-depth, like our Lock U kit, our long gun operators cleaning kit, universal. So this is our universal kit. You're gonna notice, compared to our other videos, we had a kit that was a pull-through kit. Well, this one is a rod kit. You're gonna see right there, we have 6 stainless steel rods, and we also have a little pouch that holds the cleaning brush as well. So you can actually pull this off and put it off to the side while you're putting everything together. Obviously your patches, like with the pull-through kit, and your hardware, like with the pull-through kit. The biggest difference here is gonna be the handle is different. Obviously, we're working with not cables, we're working with stainless steel rods. This is where I want to bring attention to what makes our cleaning kits different on top of what makes our technology different. So the industry norm for a while has been aluminum rods. They're fairly cheap. People do them because they want to hit a certain price point on their kits so they can push them through to the consumer at a better price point value. Sometimes cheap is not necessarily the best. I think it goes hand in hand with the old saying for electronics, you know,
You get what you pay for.
you get what you pay for. And I've seen a lot of bent rods throughout the years, you know. This one, machined stainless steel, machined threads. If you don't want it to twirl around, right here on this side, there's a little tensioning tab, and it's not twirling around now. And now I can just add rod after rod after rod. Now with 6 rods, I think the full size of this comes out to about 36 inches. That's really important for a lot of these hunting shotguns that have longer barrels, like some of the semi-autos that I have next to me, which I'll come out to. I think this one will be a 3 rod operation.
There's no use putting in more rods than you need, because then kind of makes the tool a little unwieldy,
Yeah,
harder to operate.
I agree. I think with 3 we'll get the job done. What do you think, Jerry? Also keep in mind, by the time you put an extension on there, it's a pretty long setup anyway. So I draw your attention again to the hardware that we use. Brass construction, but with hard plastic bristles. Like I've said before, the reason we use these instead of brass, these last a lot longer as far as the bristles. They're not as brittle, they won't poke you, and they won't leave that weird color exchange. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll see it 100%, especially when it comes to shotgun barrels. You're really gonna, with a bigger brush, you're really gonna start seeing that copper exchange. All right, we're gonna get the step down now for the 12 gauge brush. And that's what you see right here. It's gonna connect right here and then connect to the rod. Now remember what I said before, they're gonna have a longer extension than what you already bargained for. So that's what Jerry was saying. You had too many of these rods and it's like you're trying to wield Excalibur just to clean an 18-inch barrel. So you already have a step down extension and the brush itself. So one of the ways to do this, especially with this 16-ounce pump version of the solvent, this is one of the few times, see if you can get this here, that I'd recommend spraying down the barrel and just letting it run down. Why? It's kind of a messy technique with this one, but there's going to be a lot of lead accumulation with a shotgun. Remember, it's shot shells and most of them are lead, and it gets pretty messy. Why? Because with heat and friction, lead is very malleable. It starts really breaking down. So you want it to kind of go in there, do a nice coating on the inside of the barrel. Remember, this stuff is pH neutral. It's not going to hurt anything. If anything, now you're cleaning the entire barrel inside and out. And this one has not been cleaned in about a year. I got to be honest with you. So I'm tempted to see what the hell we're going to pull out of here. So
the good thing is that since you had used the breakthrough product before, it's not as caked up as it normally would have been if it was on bare metal.
True. Good
Because
point.
it gives that little coating.
Good point. And another point right here is we have a tritium front sight from Trigicon. This is the 3-dot system that they have that I put on the shotgun here. You can see, I think they're the track lock sights. That was a partnership between
Cheap
them
sight.
and Wilson Combat, I want to say. But the reason why I say that is it's irradiated gas that's trapped. It's self-luminous, however it's unicorn farts in there, okay, to be honest with you. But the biggest thing about it is our solvent's not going to go out there, it's not going to mess anything up. If there was any paint on there, it's not going to break it loose, it's not going to hurt anything, and it's not going to fog up the glass. So keep that in mind. So important thing that we're talking about, the front sight, it's not going to mess it up, all right, to sum that up. So now that we've let the solvent stay in there for a while, we're going to go kind of, now I know what some of you are thinking, oh my God, he's going back and forth. Well, tell them why that's not important, Jerry.
Yeah. With the shotgun, it's not important because there's no rifling inside the barrel. It's pretty much a smooth bore. So you're not going to damage anything or do anything to the inside there.
Yeah, so if you had quarter MOA with the shotgun before the video started,
You'll have quarter MOA still.
Yeah. So, now the reason why I'm trying to go in there and you see it flying, let's come on over, see if you can look at the top of the tabletop. Now that's why I was going back and forth. That's all lead, friend. Okay? You could see how much was broken off with this solvent. That's why I let it sit in there for a little bit and it broke it loose.
You could even see it on there.
Yep, you can see it right there.
You want
if
to
zoom
close
in
up on the porting?
ports. I told you this thing hadn't been cleaned in a year. I wasn't lying. And I kind of peppered my friend here with with the lead.
Thank you very much.
But you can kind of tell right there, and it's pushing them through those ports. That's why I'm going back and forth. That's what I recommend that you folks do. If you get a chance. Again, this is not a rifle barrel, so calm down. And that's another reason why we don't use brass brushes. Look at how that's flying out of there. Alright? I still, with a little bit of elbow grease, I can get everything out of that barrel and not have to worry about it. Now you precision guys, you're probably having heart attacks right now because I'm removing lead fouling from a barrel. Well, I'm not trying to hit 1,000 meters with this, so it's fine. Yeah. But for a shotgun, it could actually kind of get thick over a while, and actually, you don't want to apply too much lead down a barrel where you're either going to clog up these ports or so much on the inside that it might obstruct anything. So I'm going to come with my little trusty brush. I'm going to spray a little bit more on the outside. I'm kind of going heavy-handed here because I haven't cleaned this barrel or the shotgun in a year.
A little lead fouling on a precision rifle doesn't hurt it too much, but on a shotgun it could change the pattern of it, especially when the shot is coming out the end.
Yeah, because it's individual BBs. You got to keep that in mind. So even though there's a wad behind it that's kind of guiding it, and shotgun ammo technology has come a long way with flight control wads and stuff like that. You never know. So why run the risk? We want a clean barrel. That's what we're trying to do. Mission accomplished. We're going to have a follow-up video on precision guns, so please stay tuned for that. We're going to grab this rag now and clean the outside first. You can get a better look at the ports and the front. Look at that. All right. So now what are we going to do? We knocked all that stuff loose on the inside. Not a problem. By now it would have been bleeding if this would have been brass.
and you notice the brush still has the same shape because the nylon will return back to the actual shape.
Has memory. You're absolutely right.
It has memory, whereas some of your brass brushes or your stainless steel brushes, if you put a little too much pressure on one side or the other, the brass is going to get all the brush is going to get all deformed.
Yep. Good point. So I'm going to grab one patch. I'm going to run it through. Everybody has their own way of running it, but as long as the patch is in there and you can go through. Look at that. That was just one pass. So obviously this was dirty. And obviously the breakthrough did a good job of getting it clean. A little bit of elbow grease goes a long way, guys. A lot of folks ask me, is our product a copper solvent? Not by design. Copper solvents tend to be very toxic. They tend to prematurely wear and tear certain parts. A good example would be any type of surface coatings that are sitting on the outside of the gun. As you saw, I'm spraying to only really clean the inside of the shotgun, but it's kind of getting all over the place. It's liquid, it's going to run. So keep that in mind for any surface finishes that you're trying to protect or you're spending your hard-earned money on. A copper solvent, yeah, it might do a really good job of cleaning the copper out. It's also maybe going to mess up your finish.
Yeah, some of your gold and silver inlaid type guns, it'll loosen them up. So
when you usually see them on the packaging and on the retail floor, some of this stuff is coming in two-part packaging. That way, if it breaks inside of one of them, the other one will contain it. That should tell you everything you need to know about some of those products. So we'll leave that right there. So that's enough for the barrel. Right, we're going to put that off to the side. And if I can grab the action bars, Jerry. Thank you, sir. Spray, spray.
These with a nice little wipe down, you really don't have to get too much in there with a brush.
Yep.
If you do, you've waited too long to clean your shotgun.
Yep. This should be the most free-flowing part of the shotgun. So a little wipe down there and anywhere else that you want. Maybe on the outside, this forend, the buttstock and the pump handle were made by Hogue. This is possibly one of the most inexpensive yet all weatherproof, all intents and purposes, all the way around, one of the best handguard buttstock combos that you're going to find. Relatively inexpensive. And even though I've beaten just the snot out of the shotgun, it still has a good grippy feeling. Yep. And a good example, let's say I want to clean the outside. You ruined that rubber. Well, technically a lot of these rubbers could get messed up with different solvents. With ours, like I mentioned before, seeing how it's pH neutral, I'm going to rub this around in there and you're going to notice all the crap is going to pull off the surface. Why? Because, look at that. Because it's been sitting in the closet or in a bag or in my truck or on the floor at the range or what have you, right? That's why you pick this type of furniture. The problem with rubber like this, it starts breaking down when you start using different solvents on it. Ours won't do that. And look at all the crap. That's all sweat, oils off my hand, that's dirt off the floor, that's everything else. Not that you need to, but if you'd like to, you know that you can. And it's not going to mess anything up. You can tell these are going bad when they start getting gummy. When these start feeling gummy, That means that the rubber is starting to break down. It's going to happen with different solvents. That I can promise. Well,
so another thing you want to do with these, since you have it apart already, you want to make sure the fit is tight. Okay, because now's the time when it's taken apart, it makes it a little easier to get that tool in there and to tighten up that forend. There's nothing like trying to run your shotgun when your forend is moving and it's pinching you on the breech.
That is a perfect maintenance tip right there. Remember, maintenance doesn't just mean cleaning and lubing your gun. It means looking at certain things while you're going along the way. Certain
checking for wear and checking that the spring and everything else is even. If you notice here, the spring lays flat. If it has a kink in it, it's usually time to change it up.
Or if there's any broken pieces, like inside of this carrier, you know, this is kind of a floating firing pin. It could be cracked in half, and you'd be none the wiser. So it's little things like that you want to keep an eye on. It's more than just cleaning stuff off. Remember that, guys. There's certain wear items on the inside of your gun that need replacing. We'll touch that on some of the other videos, like the one for the AR-15. That's a big one. There's actually rings and rubber extractor rings on the inside of the bolt alone that wear down after a certain round count. So keep an eye out for that. All right, as you can see, I've cleaned the bolt assembly, the little carrier on the bottom. I'm putting that how it's supposed to be put, off to the side. Let me grab this receiver now. That's some of that lead that's still on there from before. Now, you can go real crazy getting in here. It all depends on how much of a deep clean you want. You can actually collapse these brushes down to just one if you wanted to. Do this, put a smaller brush on here, and start hitting some of the finer points inside of here just to get some debris out, which you might get. I'm not going to do that for the purposes of the video, so I'd rather do a quick wipe down for what I can see and on the inside. I'm going to go in here, places that I can actually reach. Keep one thing in mind, another thing you could do is with these rods, you could put the brush back on them, right? And you can go down the feed tube. There's going to be some debris in there. It's not going to be a high amount of lead like you would see down a barrel, but it still lets you break whatever's in there. There should be nothing in there. That's another reason why I went with that aftermarket stainless steel follower from Van Comp, because the debris is just going to fly out through there. So little things like that, they go a long way. Make sure that you buy accessories, guys, to really work around what your actual needs are. You can load up any firearm with so many accessories that it goes away from the intended purpose. So it's pretty much clean now, the inside and out. So let's get in there a little bit more. And of course you can get deeper into this gun, but again, we're not going to recommend that anybody take their shotgun down past standard field stripping. Again, refer to your firearms manual. Always adhere to their policy, or else you're probably going to be in risk of getting your warranty voided. Okay. There's
a lot of little springs and pins and stuff in there that you could mess stuff up for you.
Yeah, and they always tend to go through that wormhole where you never find them again, and that sucks. Trust me. All right, let's do some lubing. It's my favorite part. You like that creepy look?
You're gonna edit that out, right?
No, we're not. All right, let's do some of the long-term maintenance on this, which is going to be obviously lubrication. This pump handle is dried already. Look how clean it looks in comparison. We're using some of the Battle-Born grease for the action bars. I like it because the action bars are exposed to the outside. So it's more susceptible to the elements, rust, what have you. Again, the Battle-Born grease is the same base technology as our oil. It's just a little bit thicker. And seeing how there's a high friction part with looser tolerances, this grease comes in handy. Look how it really darkens everything up. So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to do a thin layer. Inside, out, top, bottom.
You really want to touch on wherever you see like a little bit of wear. That's where two metals are touching each other, so you really want to get some lubrication into there to make sure the shotgun functions smoothly.
Good point. All right, that's good to go. I'm gonna leave that there. And this is where you can use either the standard Battleborn that comes with your lock U kit, which is gonna be right in here. Again, 2-ounce serving of our Breakthrough solvent, 2-ounce serving of our Battleborn lubricant, and 12 cc grease syringe. So if you bought the lock U kit, it comes with it already. It really is an all-inclusive kit, especially for the price. You're definitely getting your money's worth. This is just our jar of grease. Like I said before in prior videos, it's perfect for countertop type of setups. If you have a gunsmithing bench, if you have a small shop and you're servicing other people's firearms, especially for reassembly of smaller parts, that's, I think, one of the biggest life hacks for certain gunsmiths is using grease like that. And you're hitting two birds with one stone because you're holding pieces in place and you're also lubricating. You don't have to worry about it breaking down over time because, again, all of our oils and lubricants are the same base technology, which means they're synthetic, they don't congeal, they don't break down. All right, they're also non-staining, there's no odor to them. So for you hunters who are using shotguns for hunting, this is a great opportunity to use our products. You're spending a considerable amount of money on scent removal products, and then you're bringing that odor back in through the woods with you.
Through your cleaning products and stuff.
Doesn't make sense. If you have a very smelly oil or grease, I don't care if it smells like a pack of menthols. I mean, if you want to put potpourri in your house, it makes sense. Just don't put it in your gun. So we're going to use our HP Pro oil for the bolt. And the main reason, I've said this in some of the other videos, it's a thicker oil. So what you end up getting, and I'm putting probably a little bit more than I should, but I just want to spread it around. Like I said before, it becomes a conditioning as well, or like a treatment. You put one thin layer on it, let it sit till it's nice and soaked up, and then you can put another layer over that and just let it sit on top, almost like a sacrificial layer. And why? When you're done shooting, you can take the gun back apart and wipe off most of that debris that's settled on top of it. It's blocking the pores because it's a little bit heavier, okay? And it's going to hold the debris from really digging into those porous surfaces. So for the purposes of the video, I'm doing it a little bit fast, but usually I put a lighter coating on top, let it get sucked in, then put another one over that, and that's what I call a sacrificial layer.
It makes cleaning a lot easier also.
Yep, and this is a perfect example right here of how two of our lubricants are working in perfect harmony without canceling the other one out. So normally greases and oils from other competitors, when they're used in the same place at the same time, one starts fighting for supremacy over the other one, might break the other one down. Not going to do a thing. If anything, create a custom viscosity. A lot of our 3-gun shooters for Team Breakthrough were the ones that brought that up to our attention because they like mixing the grease with the oil and creating their own custom viscosity on their faster moving race guns. If you can hold that one for me, Jerry. And then this barrel is nice and dry. It looks almost brand new, like it came out of the phosphate bath. If you wanted to protect it against the elements, like I said, a little snail trail on the barrel, and a little bit goes a long way. Okay, and you could do that for the outside of the gun.
I've even seen the Parkerized barrels just with the oils in your fingertips. You'll get that little light surface rust. With this product, you don't get that anymore.
And that's a really good point. So parkerizing is almost like a sponge. Out of all the surface treatments that you could do, it's one of the more antiquated ones. A lot of people have gone with melaniting or Cerakoting or what have you, but for production guns, you know, folks are trying to minimize the costs of their production, so they pick coatings that make sense for them at the time. Parkerizing, being a sponge, will really suck in everything around its environment, right? And that's why using a synthetic oil makes sense. Also one that's going to protect the outside of the gun. You could do the same here, right? With it still on your hand, you can just kind of put it all over the place, okay? Now time for reassembly.
Alrighty. Reassembly, pretty much we're going to go in the reverse order of how we disassembled it.
I'll hold it for you.
Okay. So you're going to slide in your slide. We're going to put the bolt and the bolt carrier back into position. Slide it in gently. You got it there? As you can see, he's pushing the action release at the bottom, which is going to allow it to slide farther back. Okay, no need to go all the way back, because when you mount the barrel, depending on what foregrip you have, sometimes it won't allow you to mount the barrel properly if you have the action all the way back. Or if you have something like a Mossberg, you have to have the action broken for it to be able to mount the barrel and to dismount the barrel.
Good point.
Okay, right here we're also going to mount the barrel into position. Make sure it seats all the way down. Okay. Now we're going to slide in the follower. As I mentioned earlier, you notice the spring is a lot longer than the tube it's actually in. So when you want to reinstall the spring into the tube, what you want to make sure is you hold it in place so it doesn't go flying out across the room. Okay. Now slide that back into here. You want to be very careful with the threads also. You want to make sure that the threads are going in nice and smooth. Okay, if it's a little cross-threaded or something, pretty much you wasted the whole
whole receiver
magazine for the gun.
That can go south real quick, guys. I think we said this before. If you're ever hitting any type of walls when you're putting a gun back together, taking it apart, chances are you're doing it wrong.
If it's not going in smooth, don't get the hammer out. Try again, start from scratch. Okay, now we could work the action. You push the release here. It should go back smoothly. Make sure the tube is tight in the front, and you can cycle it back and forth.
Feels sweet, doesn't it?
Nice and easy.
Let's see how that sucker works.
Woo! That greases some fantastic stuff.
Oh yeah. Guys, if you ever wanted to get a little bit, there's some folks with digital dexterity issues, maybe some hand injuries, things like that. If that's a weird tube for you to really work and get some pressure on, you can always use a strap wrench. Just don't go crazy with it, okay? It's usually 1 or 2 clicks past tight.
Yeah. The tube should be pretty much finger tight. If you go way too much, you're going to ruin it, because the aluminum with aluminum will kind of bond together.
Good point.
And then you'll never be able to take it apart again.
Good point, good point.
So you'll have to send it back, and they're going to charge you a lot of money to replace the tube.
Yeah. So we can put that one off to the side, and now we're just going to talk about some of the differences between the different pump shotguns. I'm going to lock this one back for you, Jerry. We're not going to take this one apart, but tell us a little bit about this one.
Okay, once again, you want to make sure whenever you're handling a firearm that it's unloaded. You want to visually and mechanically feel that it's unloaded. This is a Mossberg model, similar to the Remington 870 we discussed earlier, where the release is in the back. This one also, to take it apart, what you're going to do is you unscrew the barrel here at the front with the action halfway. Okay, once you slide the barrel out, the spring is set up a little different on the Mossbergs. Unlike the 870 where the spring comes all the way out, on the Mossberg you have to actually unscrew the feed tube. And it's the same thing, the spring is also a lot longer, so you want to make sure you try to capture it so it doesn't go flying across the room.
Good point.
Okay, so this one's basically a stock model, and we use it for trap with the Boy Scouts.
Yeah,
so
actually,
unlike the other ones that we have out here on the table and stuff like that.
Actually, great to bring this up. Jerry and all the folks at Novo Arms are actually really just warm-hearted people. They do a lot of stuff with the Boy Scouts. I want to take this point to drive you guys over to their website, novoarms.com. They do a lot of stuff with local ladies groups as well, first-time shooters.
Women on Target. Yep. For the NRA.
So, and they always make sure to bring, this is one of Jerry's guns, that's one of Jerry's guns. They always make sure to either find a gun or bring one of their own out there for first-time shooters. They're doing a lot for the folks that are willing and open-minded to try and give the shooting sports a try. So just wanted to give them a big kudos for that, now that we're talking about trap. I know it's a big thing for Jerry and his group. If they don't have a working shotgun, then they have to call off their trap and skeet night on Fridays, and there's always a big turnout for that. So that's why we wanted to make sure that we touch this video series on the shotgun. Yeah,
our guns are shot a lot, so they need to be functioning every time. So we always use the breakthrough products.
Yep.
Makes them a lot easier to clean and stuff after.
And now we got this baby. I love semi-autos.
And now we have the Beretta Outlander model. These are very high intensity for maintenance because they have a lot of little O-rings and stuff like that where the gases are actually what's making it cycle.
It's like a gas seal, gas ring.
Gas seals, gas rings, and
like
stuff
on an AR, you see that on the bolts. Yeah. Almost the same concept.
So what you want to do with these is you unscrew the front cap here, take out the fore end, and you're gonna notice there's a bunch of springs and O-rings and all that there. You wanna pay close attention to those, make sure they're not damaged, make sure they go back in the same order, make sure you don't lose any of them, because you'll have issues with it not functioning properly.
So they go in a specific order. This would be one of those life hacks that you might want to write down. Yeah. Something as simple as taking out your cell phone, taking a picture, and seeing what direction they go from, from north to south. So how do you take out the bolt?
To remove the bolt, you let the bolt right forward. These have a release right here on the side. The bolt will come forward, you pull the handle out, and then all that comes out the front. Okay. You don't want to disassemble too much in the trigger mechanisms, because here too, you have a lot of little pins and springs and stuff like that, that if they go flying, you pretty much, you're on your own with a $900 shotgun that doesn't work anymore.
And again, I can't stress that enough, guys. Be careful what you do when you're field stripping your gun. Always, always, always refer to your user's manual. We wanted to touch over some of the base differences between some of the shotguns. Obviously, there's too many variations, I think, just for one video. We went over, I think, one of the simplest ones to take down and maintain, which is a Remington 870. Military has used it for years, so have a lot of civilian police agencies, federal agencies, foreign nations. Doesn't mean it's the best one, but it's, I think, one of the ones that's made its way out there the most. Mossberg is going to be different in how they take down theirs. Also another great shotgun. And with semi-auto shotguns, it's just going to go on and on and on from there. There's too many variations to really cover. So that being said, that's really it for shotguns. A quick recap before we go though. Today we discussed how to properly disassemble, clean, and maintain your shotguns, all while using the best firearm cleaning and lubrication products in the market today, Breakthrough Clean. As always, thank you for joining us. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay up to speed on all of our new Breakthrough Clean University videos. Also, check out our social media pages for up-to-the-minute news, product offers, and giveaways. Well, thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Gabe. It's been great.
See you next time.